It's all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is ex-consultant and go-to-market leader turned neuroscience coach, helping top performers rewire their minds for intentional freedom and foster success. None other than Miss Dorota Kosiorek.
Thank you so much for the introduction.
Welcome, welcome, Miss Dorota. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, I think important point here is to say that I am a high achiever, and the work I'm doing right now as a coach has a lot of to do with me also working on myself and I'm approach to achievements, success, and how I have changed and evolved over the years. Um, with my history of working consulting, very fast-paced environment, then startup world, and now also doing brain coaching. This has been, my main driver to change, because for high achievers that need to constantly be doing something and like rest feeling like being lazy or not doing something you could be doing, it's a mindset issue. So I started my exploration with myself, and that has been a first step for something that I'm doing right now.
It's a mindset indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Dorota. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And today let's talk about from high achiever to elite thinker, the neuroscience of calm confidence success. So tell us, let's start with the fundamental difference. From a neuroscience perspective, what is the key distinction between the brain of a high achiever driven by external validation and an elite thinker operating from internal calm and confidence?
Yeah, very good question. So, being a high achiever, neuroscience and the brain is saying a lot of that dopamine boost that is happening, when you are aiming for something, when you're trying to achieve things. It's just constantly driving you to go, but it drops as soon as you are where you plan to be. So you need another challenge. And this, with high achiever mindset, we are all very driven by external validation, by how people perceive us, what status we have, and anything that we are doing that is about resting, about letting go. It's sending that signal to the brain that, okay, maybe someone will notice we're not doing what we should be doing. um, so being in that stadium means that you are constantly chasing something that you don't even have the definition of what the success, because as soon as you get there, you don't feel like it's there, like you need another challenge. The work I do with my clients is a lot about moving from that state to what I call elite thinking. So, doing less by experiencing more, defining your success, and making sure that the success that looks externally great is also something yet that you feel internally. And we start here with, first of all, understanding your current definition of the success, what it is, how it feels like, and what would be the enough to be able to notice it when it happens. To be able to be more mindful, more conscious, and aware of what's happening with you, with your brain, with your thinking. And through that, you are becoming someone who can manage much more of what's happening in your head and in your life.
Interesting, Ms. Dorota. The high achiever's mindset is often fueled by dopamine loops and fear of failure. How does the elite thinker rewire this reward system to be driven by purpose and mastery instead?
Yeah. So first step is always awareness, right? So you have to start noticing your thinking and noticing those adaptive assumptions that have been, wired in your identity ages ago. uh, the brain of high achievers as a kids, like as every person, like between 2 to 7 years old, the brain is like a sponge. It's just like accepting everything that's coming. And that's when a lot of stuff is happening and a lot of wiring is happening. And then the older we are, it's harder to change it because we are not even noticing, like we're acting on autopilot. uh, and for high achievers is very, very dangerous because of that external validation and that relationship with dopamine and what success means. So you have to start with noticing things and being more and more conscious. So there is a lot of training about you starting noticing your thoughts and understanding this, and you know um, trying to build that relationship that not everything you think is true, right? That you can actually pause, reflect, and maybe act a little bit differently, a little bit more conscious. You can work in different ways on that. And I think it depends on what resonates with people. My preferences always go towards visualization work and aware thing, like aware work around your thoughts, your behaviors, systemizing approach. So that's how I work with my clients.
Miss Dakota, tell us, what does the term calm mean in a neurological context? Is it the absence of stress hormones, the prevalence of a certain brain waves, or something more?
Hmm. Uh, I would say that it's important to actually define calm, what calm means for someone, right? Because every person can approach it differently. And in my world, in high achievers world, like calm means that you feel good right here, right now, with your thoughts, with your energy, with the actions you are taking. There is no threat, there is no fear from unknown, from what's coming. The What's gonna happen in a minute, we never know, right? So our brain automatically reacts to unknown as a threat response. And calmness is a lot of about building that identity that you are okay with what's gonna come, no matter whether it's good or bad, because you are gonna be able to react in a conscious way rather than have that autopilot reaction that might be freeze or flight.
Miss Dakota, many high achievers are plagued by critical inner voice. What is happening in the brain during the self criticism, and what is the first step to quieting that neural pathway?
Mhm. Yeah, so that voice, there's all those saboteurs. Every one of us have them, right? They are coming from that identity that we've been carried with us. And mm, always, 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 first step is to start noticing that, right? Start noticing that and saying to your inner voice, hey, thank you for coming. Like, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for sharing. But being able to notice that and pause for a moment, like that's a deal breaker. If you don't start noticing that you have those thoughts, you're gonna keep wiring yourself for negativity. When you can start noticing, then you can start building different reaction. You can start strengthening your mental muscles, not to act on autopilot on those thoughts and keep wiring the same negative thoughts, but you can start defining different approach, right? Like we are not gonna get rid of the saboteurs and that negative voice. It's gonna be always there, right? But it should more serve as a like 1 second impulse for letting us know that okay, this is something. But then instead of keep thinking it and wiring our thoughts around that negative thought, we should be thinking about reaction. Okay, what to do with that thought, like how we can, act to change something, how we can act to, take a next step to make a progress, instead of, keep thinking about that thought and what's the history behind it, etc.
Interesting, Miss Dakota. How can someone use breath work or heart rate variability training to literally change their brain state from reactive to responsive within 60 seconds?
Yeah. I'm definitely not an expert on breath work. I only use it, to some extent. But the power of the breath is there because breath is responsible for, the oxygen being transmitted in your blood, right? And that's going to your brain, and activates the reactions in your brain. So breath will always, always, always help you calm down whatever stressful situation you are in. If you pause and take few deep breaths, it's going to help you. It's going to help you take control of your body and what's happening. The problem is that people don't train that, don't exercise this thing, and they just, just go from panic mode, and then it's like a, snowball effect. So you can actually, train your actions the same way you train things at the gym, by repeating it, by, exercising those deep breaths anytime, even if without stressful situation. I think that's something that people can start do to strengthen that muscle, and to be able to, mm, gradually use this, couple of breaths, 1 minute 30 seconds breaths in a stressful situation.
And how about confident? Is confident a feeling that comes after success or a state we can cultivate neurologically before an important event?
Mhm. I'm a big believer in visualization and mindset work, and the science he says that your brain doesn't get the difference between what's real and imagined. So you can actually train your mental, fitness to be confident by mentally rehearsing, you're seeing yourself achieving things, being super powerful, calm, without even getting there. I think that's first step to get somewhere. Like imagine you are there, you're achieving that, trying to feel that, trying to feeling the emotions. Whatever we feel emotionally, it's gonna be, stored in our brain memory. That happens with every emotional situation reaction. We remember it in details because of the emotions behind that. So if we train visualization and our confident self and imagine emotions behind that, that's gonna help us then build that gradually in the, real world, and react to that. So I would say, yeah, like I think this is possible, and I believe in the science that says you can train that. Of course, nothing is gonna happen from day one to day two, right? It's like with everything, practice makes a master. But I believe that's possible, and I'm big supporter of this type of mental training.
Practice make you perfect, people. Practice make you perfect. And what role do sleep play in the transition from high achiever to elite thinker? What is the single most important sleep habit for cognitive upgrade?
So from brain perspective, I think there is one game changer that I was myself not really aware of. So your prefrontal cortex, right? So the part responsible for logical thinking, it's very tiny. That's why we take only 5% of decision more or less daily consciously using that part of the brain. And one of it characteristics is that it's tiny and it's high. It consumes a lot of energy while working, which means it needs recharge. And sleep is the only way to recharge your prefrontal cortex. So that's simple, right? If you don't sleep, you don't recharge your prefrontal cortex, and your logical thinking disappears, right? It's not endless thing. I used to think that I can, and I used to be proud of that I can sleep 5 hours a day and then perform at work. But I wasn't realizing that I could have been doing probably the same amount of work much faster if I were after a decent amount of sleep, recharged, and my productivity would be in a totally different place. So when I fixed my, let's call it, relationship with sleep, and I just feel much better.
How does an elite thinker brain differently process failure or negative feedback? What is the neural mechanism that allows them to see the data rather than a personal indictment or indictment?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I compare it to high achievers thinking, right? The failure would be something that, okay, people will judge me that I failed, that I didn't do what I was supposed to be. Like for elite thinker, that perception changes because every failure is a step towards achieving something. You learn from your failures. So actually, the biggest climb up you have to do after falling down, like the faster you learn. That's the thing, because you have to overcome something. You have to get up and keep going and overcome struggles, and that helps you learn much faster. So that relationship changes mostly with how you're perceiving, like from external judgment, that failure can be seen as high achievers, to like internally building your strengths and helping you grow as a lead thinker.
Interesting, Miss Dorota. Decision fatigue is a major challenge for high achievers. What strategies or cognitive rituals can protect the prefrontal cortex and conserve willpower throughout the day?
mm, I'm a huge fan of making systems for taking. So basically depending on the decision type, right? But just having your own methodology on how you take decisions. Like uh, this can be, what are your non-negotiables, right? What's a must-have in each area? How much time you want to dedicate to explore options, right? How many ideas you want to bring to the table that you're able to pick out for taking decisions, and you can have different, this is work or life or other areas. But I think understanding that helps people take decisions faster and don't feel like this is something overwhelming. Plus, systemizing and automating part of your decisions. Like life is difficult, right? We're taking a lot of decisions daily, and most of them we take on autopilot. But I think it's also important to understand which ones we want to take. And the best way for that is to systemize them, like deciding on what you're gonna wear, what you're gonna eat, how you're gonna spend your morning, right? How to plan your actions in the morning. Like you can make it all simpler for yourself by creating those routines and automations, and really make sure you are using your prefrontal cortex energy on taking important decisions, like, yeah, okay, what's going to be my business strategy for the next month, right? Or doing the creative work. So yeah, so just coming back to your question, like creating systems that helps you Make sure you know what are criteria for taking decisions. Plus, making sure you choose the decisions you actually want to invest time in, and the rest you automate in a conscious way.
Miss Dorota, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast law 101 and mental health 101. Love Letters in fourth season. I'm a movie 101 review, music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Dorota, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah. One book that I would love to recommend is The Power of Systems by Steve Chandler and Trevor Timbeck. It's a book about how everything in your life can be a system, and like what to do to actually start realizing that and how to create it. Very powerful, and I would say very helpful for high achievers to shift the way they think and operate and make their life better and easier.
Miss Dorota Kosiorek. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah. Thank you so much. So if you enjoyed, the speech, what I was sharing, I would love to talk to you. Feel free to go to my website that you see right now and just book a call with me. I offer free 50 minutes discovery calls where we discuss, your biggest challenges and come up with a short plan on how we could address them. And we can check whether we are a fit to work together with me, as a coach. So, yes, please do so. You can also follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Both links are on my website. Thank you so much.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Dorota Kasiorek because if you support her, pursue more and more empowering business or advocacy to come. So, Miss Dorota, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Mordecai, people, see you soon.